And we're live. Welcome, everyone. This is the Limitless, co-hosted by the one with the most awake souls. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing well, Ronnie. How are you doing on this Sunday night?
Oh, I'm great. I'm just having a bit of an echo here. Oh, and we got another issue.
Well, welcome, everyone. Sunday nights are the nights that Ronnie and I like to cover scriptures and spiritual stuff. Wednesday nights are the nights that we key in on things like the jet fuel hoax, community building, and just other modern relevant topics. Sundays are more of our spiritual days. And tonight we're going to be going through the secret book of Enoch, which is a little bit different than the book of Enoch that a lot of us are familiar with. It's not as popular a version, but what it is it's sort of a more of a quick run through on all of Enoch in one smaller book. So we're going to go through this one. And then from here, we might go into the more traditional book of Enoch, or we'll see where the path goes. But we're going to do this Enoch next because it's one that we can probably get through tonight. And, it still fills in a whole bunch of details that are missing in the Bible that gives us really good clues as to the nature of our reality, the shape of Earth, the layout of it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it does give us a lot more of a better picture onto the types of things and the modern type of language that we now have. It was generally for a remote generation, as well as the book of Enoch was for the sons of Enoch and of Noah as well, right? So I guess I didn't know if... Go ahead.
When the Israelites were reading scriptures, what do you think they were reading?
Yeah, they were reading the book of Enoch and the book of Adam and Eve and all that, I assume, right?
Yeah, because they were reading something. I think there might be some sort of an audio glitch going on, because I'm getting a feedback. I hear my voice back.
Well, I don't. It sounds good to me.
Okay.
Clear as clear can be. I don't know how I sound.
You sound good. So, you had mentioned that you wanted to sort of cover some things that you've been seeing going on, maybe in flat earth activism, that kind of stuff. Before we got into the scriptures, did you still want to do that?
Yeah, I guess there's a channel out here that I want to bring everyone's attention to. This is the channel here. I believe his name is Nathan Roberts, and I have shared him before. He is the I don't know if everybody's come from the other YouTube hangout that we have. Let me just see 1 second, everybody, because they're probably waiting in the one that I posted to leave an update so people knew that we would be going live. Always trying to do. Oh, I think no, this is it. It's the same one. We're live. Hey, Bricks, getting guitar picks. Okay, I'll go back to what I was saying, Jason.
Yeah.
So I guess at the end of the day, there has been a push for, I guess you could say, the satanic COINTEL that pushed out flat Earth. Might have, leaders like Rob Skiba and Tiger Dan actually, realized that the AE map is impossible, right? So he was one of the ones that actually, he up and quit flat Earth because of it. But what I've seen is now that the AE map has been totally debunked, which we did, Jason, you and I, in hopes that we could do it before the globe believers did it, because we were trying to save the true flat earth, because we believe that God's word preaches that the earth is flat, and we knew that the Satanists would try to bring out some sort of a map scheme or some sort of a deception to discredit it. But I noticed on Nathan's sign here, I don't know if I'll get a chance to see it, but he has the AE map, and he was sharing a little bit of improper truths, such as the word firmament, rakia, and the chug and hug, the circuit of the earth problem that we've had on a bunch of the, I just wish that everybody could come to the correct truth, so we could be more powerful when we do these types of things. And I don't know, Jason, we should dedicate some time to showing what the problems are with the true map and model sometime. And I think it might be beneficiary for everybody to look at what's going on.
Well, the problems aren't really with the true map and model. They're with the AE map and model, the one that has the one polar point, and it doesn't have a second, because what we experience in the world that we're in, we've got two polar points. We have one in the north and one in the south. And so when we're looking north, we have a counterclockwise rotation of the celestial bodies. And when we're looking south, we have a clockwise rotation of the celestial bodies. So this right here makes it impossible for the popular AE map and model to function. And then there's tons and tons of other problems with it that we've addressed over and over and over. And so it is super important that we not only know that Earth is flat, but that the popular AE map and model does not work. Because if we were to present the AE map and model to the typical globe Earth believing person, anybody with common sense should be able to debunk it very, very quickly and totally discredit the idea that we're on a flat Earth. So we don't want that to happen.
No, that's what we've been fighting vehemently at the cost of thousands of subscribers, tons of friends. Well, after you wake up to the flat Earth truth, usually you go through stages where you lose the friends that you thought you had. And then you become to get into this community type atmosphere where, people that are in the community pretend to be your friend. And once you confront them with the truth, usually they don't want it either. They run, and then you fall into a further hole. And that's what Jason and I have been out here, as much as humanly possible, just trying to stop. We're trying to share all of God's truth, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's got to be truth. It's got to be truth. We can't settle for lies anywhere, because if there's going to be a group of people that are going to gather up, and these are going to be the serious truth seekers, or the Bible calls them the elect, we come from all different walks of life. So we're different nationalities, we're different languages, we're different social ladder and economic ladder and physical capacity. All these things, we have separate attributes across the board. And the idea that we could all be in agreement on anything other than the truth is ludicrous. So it has to be the most accurate truth on everything. Otherwise, we're not going to all agree. If there's Christians out there that say we are on a globe, and here we are Christians that say, no, it's flat, we're not in agreement. And the only way to get past that hurdle and be in agreement is for us to agree on the truth. So it just has to be an open, honest debate, discussion regarding the details of the truth in everything. And once we've got it all hashed out and we all agree on it, there we go. We're there. We are the elect.
Yeah, it all makes sense. And we have to agree on all the truth, not just some of the truth, but all the truth. So if you want to get geared up here, brother, I'll get going. We'll start this off. I would like to synchronize the music.
Yeah, just a second.
and you'll probably be able to have it louder too now because I've tried to fix the volume level.
Oh, I
So
got
you do
you.
the count. We'll do it on 3, 2, 1, and then we'll go on 0. And you do the countdown.
Sorry, it's hiding somewhere.
Oh, that's okay, brother. You never have to apologize.
I'll do a little bump up and get the email open. Got that. All right, so I'm all. Oh, we gotta count down for the music.
Okay.
You all set?
Yes, sir.
3, 2, 1, play.
Excuse me. So hopefully that's not too loud for everybody. You can let me know. Oh, no, I don't want to replace it. I want to present. How's everybody doing? Thanks again. This is like super, super blessing to be here tonight with all of you. We hope that many more will join us and feel the inspiration and the passion for the creator that we do. Tonight we're going to be getting into why did it jump? We're going to be getting into the book of the secrets of Enoch. So I don't know if everybody at home's read these books or heard them, but we're going to get into them. And I guess here we go. Let me just
lead it off, brother.
And it says this: there was a wise man, a great artificer, and the Lord conceived love for him and received him, that he should behold the uppermost dwellings and be an eyewitness of the wise and great and inconceivable and immutable realm of God Almighty, of the very wonderful and glorious and bright and many-eyed station of the Lord's servants, and of the inaccessible throne of the Lord, and of the degrees and the manifestations of the incorporeal hosts, and of the infallible ministration of the multitude of the elements, and of the various apparitions and inexpressible singing of the host of cherubim, and of the boundless light. At that time, he said, when my 165th year was completed, I begat my son, Methuselah. After this, too, I lived 200 years and completed all the years of my life, 365 years. On the first day of the first month, I was in my house alone and was resting on my couch and slept. And when I was asleep, great distress came into my heart, and I was weeping with my eyes in sleep. And I could not understand what this distress was or what would happen to me. And there appeared to me 2 men exceedingly huge, so that I never saw such on earth. Their faces were shining like the sun. Their eyes too were burning like the light. And from their lips was fire coming forth with clothing and singing of various kinds, in appearance of purple. Their wings were brighter than gold, their hands whiter than snow. They were standing at the head of my couch and began to call me by name. And I arose from my sleep and saw clearly those 2 men standing in front of me. And I saluted them and was seized with fear, and the appearance of my face was changed from terror. And those men said to me, have courage, Enoch. Do not fear. The eternal God sent us to thee. And lo, thou shalt today ascend with us into heaven. And thou shalt tell thy sons and all thy household all that they shall do without thee on the earth in thy house. And let no one seek thee till the Lord return them to them. And I made haste to obey them and went out of my house and made to the doors as it was ordered to me, and summoned my sons Methuselah and Raijim and Gaidad, and made known to them all the marvels those men had told me. Listen to me, my children. I know not whither I go or what will befall me. Now, therefore, my children, I tell you, turn not from God before the face of the vain, who made not heaven and earth, for these shall perish, and those who worship them. And may the Lord make confident your hearts in the fear of him. And now, my children, let no one think to seek me until the Lord return me to you. Do you want to take over, Jay? We're on slide 6.
Sounds good. I got it.
You just steal the screen share, right?
Yeah. Let me know how the volume is when we switch.
I got mine at 30%.
Yeah, it doesn't have that on the Mac.
I'm guessing.
Can you hear it?
You could probably go a little bit more.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. I think we're right at a transition of song, but let me know if it gets too much.
No, that's good. It's perfect.
All right. Well, I got to present.
I think you are.
This type of present. It came to pass when Enoch had told his sons that the angels took him on their wings and bore him up on the first heaven and placed him on the clouds. And there I looked, and again I looked higher and saw the ether. And they placed me on the first heaven and showed me a very great sea, greater than the earthly sea, of the angels ruling the stars. They brought us before my face the elders and rulers of the stellar orders, and showed me 200 angels who rule the stars and their services to the heavens, and fly with their wings and come round all those who sail. Of how the angels keep the storehouses of the snow. And here I looked down and saw the treasure houses of the snow, and the angel who keep their terrible storehouses, and the clouds whence they come out, and into which they go. You might want to mute, brother. They showed me the treasure house of the dew, like oil of the olive, and the appearance of its form, as all the flowers of the earth. Further, many angels guarding the treasure houses of these things, and how they are made to shut up and open. Of how Enoch was taken on the second heaven. And those men took me and led me up on the second heaven, and showed me darkness, greater than earthly darkness. And there I saw prisoners hanging, watched, awaiting the great and boundless judgment. And these angels were dark looking, more than earthly darkness, and incessantly making weeping through all hours. And I said to the men who were with me, Wherefore are these incessantly tortured? They answered me, These are God's apostates, who obeyed not God's commands, but took counsel with their own will and turned away with their prince, who also is fastened on the fifth heaven. And I felt great pity for them, and they saluted me and said to me, Man of God, pray for us to the Lord. And I answered to them, Who am I, a mortal man, that I should pray for angels? Who knoweth whither I go, or what will befall me, or who will pray for me? And those men took me thence, and led me up to the third heaven, and placed me there, and I looked downwards, and saw the produce of these places, such as has never been known for goodness. And I saw all the sweet flowering trees, and beheld their fruits, which were sweet smelling, and all the foods borne by them bubbling with fragrant exhalation. And in the midst of the trees that of life, in that place whereon the Lord rests, when he goes up into paradise, and this tree is of ineffable goodness and fragrance, and adorned more than every existing thing. And on all sides it is in form good looking and vermilion and fire-like, and covers all, and it has produce from all fruits. Its root is in the garden of the earth's end, and paradise is between corruptibility and incorruptibility. And 2 springs come out, which send forth honey and milk, and their springs send forth oil and wine. And they separate into 4 parts, and go round with quiet course, and go down into paradise of Eden, between corruptibility and incorruptibility. And thence they go forth along the earth, and have a revolution to their circle even as other elements. And here there is no unfruitful tree, and every place is blessed. And there are 300 angels, very bright, who keep the garden, and with incessant sweet singing and never silent voices serve the Lord throughout all days and hours. And I said, how very sweet is this place? And those men said to me, this place, O Enoch, is prepared for the righteous, who endure all manner of offense from those that exasperate their souls, who will avert their eyes from iniquity and make righteous judgment and give bread to the hungering and cover the naked with clothing and raise up the fallen and help injured orphans and who walk without fault before the face of the Lord and serve him alone. For them is prepared this place for eternal inheritance. And those two men led me upon to the northern side and showed me there a very terrible place. And there was all manner of tortures in that place, cruel darkness and unilluminated gloom. And there is no light there, but murky fire constantly flameth aloft. And there is a fiery river coming forth. And that whole place is everywhere fire, and everywhere there is frost and ice, thirst and shivering, while the bonds are very cruel, and the angels fearful and merciless, bearing angry weapons, merciless torture. And I said, whoa, whoa, how very terrible is this place? And those men said to me, this place, O Enoch, is prepared for those who dishonor God, who on earth practice sin against nature, which is child corruption after the sodomitic fashion, magic making, enchantments, and devilish witchcrafts, and who boast of their wicked deeds, stealing, lies, calumnies, envy, rancor, fornication, murder, and who, accursed, steal the souls of men, who, seeing the poor, take away their goods and themselves wax rich, injuring them for other men's goods, who being able to satisfy the empty, made the hungering to die, being able to clothe, strip the naked, and who knew not their Creator and bowed down to soulless, lifeless gods, who cannot see nor hear vain gods, who also built hewn images and bowed down to unclean handiwork. For all these is prepared this place amongst these for eternal inheritance. Those men took me and led me up on the fourth heaven and showed me all the successive goings and all rays of the light of sun and moon. And I measured their goings and compared their light and saw that the sun's light is greater than the moon's. Its circle and the wheels on which it goes always, like a wind going past with very marvelous speed, and day and night it has no rest. Its passage and return are accompanied by 4 great stars, and each star has under it 1,000 stars, to the right of the sun's wheel, and by 4 to the left, each having under it 1,000 stars, altogether 8,000, issuing with the sun continually. And by day 15, myriads of angels attend it, and by night 1,000. And 6 winged ones issue with the angels before the sun's wheel into the fiery flames, and 100 angels kindle the sun and set it alight. And I looked and saw other flying elements. You want to jump in?
Well, I wanted to make a point there, just that it was basically explaining the North Polaris and Sigma Octantis, and the 2 great wheels that are revolving in the sky. It was basically explaining exactly. If you want me to read a bit, but you can keep going if you want.
Yeah, I'll just go a few more. Maybe when I hit one of the title slides. All right. And I looked and I saw other flying elements of the sun, whose names are phoenixes and chalkidri, marvelous and wonderful, with feet and tails in the form of a lion, and a crocodile's head. Their appearance is empurpled, like the rainbow. Their size is 900 measures. Their wings are like those of angels. Each has 12, and they attend and accompany the sun, bearing heat and dew as it is ordered them from God. Thus the sun revolves and goes and rises under the heaven, and its course goes under the earth with the light of its rays incessantly. The angels took Enoch and placed him in the east at the sun's gates. Those men bore me away to the east and placed me at the sun's gates, where the sun goes forth according to the regulation of the seasons and the circuit of the months of the whole year, and the number of the hours, day and night. And I saw 6 gates open, each gate having 61 stadia and a quarter of 1 stadium. And I measured them truly, and understood their size to be so much, through which the sun goes forth, and goes to the west, and is made even, and rises throughout all the months, and turns back again from the 6 gates according to the succession of the seasons. Thus the period of the whole year is finished after the return of the 4 seasons. I'll finish this one. And again, those men led me away to the western parts, and showed me 6 great gates open corresponding to the eastern gates, opposite to where the sun sets, according to the number of the days, 365 and a quarter. Thus again it goes down to the western gates, and draws away its light, the greatness of its brightness under the earth. For since the crown of its shining is in the heaven with the Lord, and guarded by 400 angels, while the sun goes round on wheel under the earth, and stands 7 great hours in night, and spends half its course under the earth, when it comes to the eastern approach in the 8th hour of the night, it brings its lights, and the crown of shining, and the sun flames forth more than fire.
Woo! Amen. Amen.
Trying to figure out how to get out of this.
I already got it, brother.
Oh, perfect.
And it says, then the elements of the sun, called phoenixes and Calcadra, break into song. Therefore every bird flutters with its wings, rejoicing at the giver of light. And they broke out into song at the command of the Lord. The giver of the light comes to give brightness to the whole world. And the morning guard takes shape, which is the rays of the sun. And the sun of the earth goes out and receives its brightness to light up the whole face of the earth. And they showed me its calculation of the sun's going, and the gates which it enters. These are the great gates of the computation of the hours of the year. For this reason, the sun is a great creation, whose circuit lasts 28 years, and begins again from the beginning. Those men showed me the other course, that of the moon, 12 great gates crowned from the west to the east, by which the moon goes in and out of the customary times. It goes in the first gate to the western place of the sun, by the first gate with 31 days exactly, by the second gates with 31 days exactly, by the third with 30 days exactly, by the fourth with 30 days exactly, by the fifth with 31 days exactly, by the sixth with 31 days exactly, by the seventh with 30 days exactly, and by the 8th with 31 days perfectly, by the 9th with 31 days exactly, by the 10th with 30 days perfectly, by the 11th with 31 days exactly, by the 12th, 28 days exactly. And it goes through the western gates in the order and number of the eastern, and accomplishes 365 and a quarter days of the solar year, while the lunar year has 354, and there are wanting to it 12 days of the solar circle, which are the lunar epochs of the whole year. Thus, too, the great circle contains 532 years. The quarter of a day is omitted for 3 years. The fourth fulfills it exactly. Therefore, they are taken outside of heaven for 3 years and are not added to the number of days. Because they change the time of the years, to 2 new months towards completion, to 2 other towards diminution. And when the western gates are finished, it returns and goes to the eastern, to the lights, and goes thus day and night about the heavenly circuits. Thus, then all the circuits, swifter than the heavenly winds, and the spirits of the elements, and the angels flying, each angel has 6 wings. It has a 7-fold course in 19 years. In the midst of the heavens I saw armed soldiers serving the Lord with tympana and organs, with in incessant voice, with sweet voice, and sweet and incessant voice, and various singing, which it is impossible to describe, and which astonishes every mind. So wonderful and marvelous is the singing of those angels, and I was delighted listening to it. Of the taking of Enoch onto the 5th heaven. The men took me onto the 5th heaven and placed me, and there I saw many and countless soldiers, called Gregori, of human appearance, and their size was greater than that of the giants, and their faces were withered, and the silence of their mouths perpetual, and there was no service on the 5th heaven. And I said to the men, wherefore are these very withered, and their faces melancholy, and their mouths silent? And wherefore is there service of this heaven? And they said to me, these are the Gregori, who with their prince Satananal rejected the Lord of light. And after them are those who are held in the great darkness on the 2nd heaven. And 3 of them went down to the earth from the Lord's throne to the place of Hermon, and broke through to their vows on the shoulder of the hill of Hermon, and saw the daughters of men, how good they were, and took to themselves wives, and befouled them with the earth with their deeds, who in all times of their age made lawlessness and mixing, and giants are born, and marvelous big, and men and great enmity. And therefore God judged them with great judgment, and they weep for their brethren, and they will be punished on the day of the Lord's return. And I said to the Gregori, I saw your brethren in their works and their great torments, and I prayed for them. But the Lord has condemned them to be under earth till heaven and earth shall be at an end forever. And I said, wherefore do you wait, brethren, and do not serve before the Lord's face, and have not put your services before the Lord's face, lest you anger your Lord utterly? And they listened to my admonition, and spoke to the 4 ranks in heaven. And lo, as I stood with those 2 men with 4 trumpets trumpeted together with a great voice, and the Gregori broke out into song with one voice, and their voice went up before the face of the Lord pitifully and affectingly. And thence those men took me and bore me up into the 6th heaven. And there I saw 7 bands of angels, very bright and very glorious, and their faces shining more than the sun's shining, glistening, and there is no difference in their faces, or behavior, or manner of dress. And these make the orders, and learn the goings of the stars, and the alteration of the moon, or revolutions of the sun, and the good government of the world. And when they see evil doing, they make commandments and instruction, and sweet and loud singing, and all songs of praise. These are the archangels who are above angels, measure all life in heaven and on earth, and the angels who are appointed over the seasons and years, the angels who are over the rivers and the sea, and who are over the fruits of the earth, and the angels who are over every grass, giving to all, to every living thing, and the angels who write all the souls of men, and all of their deeds, and their lives before the Lord's face. In their midst are 6 phoenixes, and 6 cherubim, and 6 six-winged ones, continually with the voice singing one voice. And it is not possible to describe their singing, and they rejoice before the Lord at his footstool. And those 2 men lifted me up thence onto the 7th heaven, and I saw there a very great light, and fiery troops of great archangels, incorporeal forces, and dominions, orders, and governments, cherubim and seraphim, thrones and many-eyed ones, 9 regiments, the lunate stations of the light. And I became afraid, and began to tremble with great terror. And those men took me, and led me after them, and said to me, have courage, Enoch, do not fear, and showed me the Lord from afar, sitting on a very high throne. For what is there on the 10th heaven, since the Lord dwells here? On the 10th heaven is Yahweh. In the Hebrew tongue, it is called Yahweh or Aravat. And all of the heavenly troops would come and stand on the 10 steps according up to their rank, and would bow down to the Lord, and would again go to their places in joy and felicity, singing songs in the boundless light with small and tender voices, gloriously serving him. And the cherubim and seraphim standing about the throne, the six-winged and many-eyed ones, do not depart, standing before the Lord's face, doing his will, and cover his whole throne, singing with gentle voice before the Lord of the face. The face is Lord. Holy, 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 Lord, ruler of Sabbath. Heavens and earth are full of thy glory. When I saw all these things, those men said to me, Enoch, thus far is it commanded us to journey with thee, and those men away from me, and thereupon I saw them not. And I remained alone on the end of the 7th heaven, and became afraid, and fell on my face, and said to myself, Woe is me! What has befallen me? And the Lord sent one of his glorious ones, the archangel Gabriel, and he said to me, Have courage, Enoch. Do not fear. Arise before the Lord's face. Into eternity arise, and come with me. And I answered him, and said in myself, My Lord, my soul has departed from me, my terror and trembling. And I called to the men who led me up to this place. On them I relied, and it is with them I go before the Lord's face. And Gabriel caught me up as a leaf caught up by the wind, and placed me before the Lord's face. And I saw the 8th heaven, which is in Hebrew called Mizoloth, changer of seasons of drought and of wet, and of 12 signs of the zodiac, which are above the 7th heaven. And I saw the 9th heaven, which is called Kuchavayim, where the heavenly homes of the 12 signs of the zodiac are. And on the 10th heaven, Avaroth, I saw the appearance of the Lord's face, with iron made to glow in fire, and brought out, emitting sparks, and it burns. And thus I saw the Lord's face. But the Lord's face is ineffable, marvelous, and very awful, and very, very terrible. And who am I to tell of the Lord's unspeakable being, and have his very wonderful face? I cannot tell the quantity of his many instructions and various voices. The Lord's throne, very great, and not made with hands, nor the quantity of those standing round him, troops of cherubim and seraphim, nor their incessant singing, nor his immutable beauty. And who shall tell of the ineffable greatness of his glory? And I fell prone and bowed down to the Lord. And the Lord with his lips said to me, Have courage, Enoch. Do not fear. Arise and stand before my face into eternity. And the archistrate gate, Michael, lifted me up and led me before the Lord's face. And the Lord said to his servants, tempting them, Let Enoch stand before my face into eternity. And the glorious ones bowed down to the Lord and said, Let Enoch go according to thy word. Jason?
Got it.
I'll make sure I mute here.
And the Lord said to Michael, Go and take Enoch from out his earthly garments, and anoint him with my sweet ointment, and put him into the garments of my glory. And Michael did thus. And as the Lord told him, he anointed me and dressed me, and the appearance of that ointment is more than the great light. And his ointment is like sweet dew, and its smell mild, shining like the sun's ray. And I looked at myself, and was like one of his glorious ones. And the Lord summoned one of his archangels by name Peruviel, whose knowledge was quicker in wisdom than the other archangels, who wrote all the deeds of the Lord. And the Lord said to Peruviel, Bring out the books from my storehouses, and a reed of quick writing, and give it to Enoch, and deliver to him the choice and comforting books out of thy hand. And he was telling me all the works of heaven, earth, and sea, and all the elements, their passages and goings, and the thunderings of the thunders, the sun and moon, the goings and changes of the stars, the seasons, years, days, and hours, the risings of the wind, the numbers of the angels, and the formation of their songs, and all human things, the tongue of every human song in life, the commandments, instructions, and sweet voice singings, and all things that is fitting to learn. Peruvial told me, all the things that I have told thee, we have written, sit and write all the souls of mankind. However, many of them are born, and the place is prepared for them to eternity. For all souls are prepared to eternity before the formation of the world. And all double 30 days and 30 nights, and I wrote out all things exactly, and wrote 366 books. It's a lot of books. And the Lord summoned me and said to me, Enoch, sit down on my left with Gabriel. And I bowed down to the Lord, and the Lord spoke to me, Enoch, beloved, all thou seest, all things that are standing finished, I tell to thee even before the very beginning. All that I created from non-being, and visible things from invisible. Hear, Enoch, and take in these my words, for not to my angels have I told my secret, and I have not told them their rise, nor their endless realm, nor have they understood my creating, which I tell thee today. For before all things were visible, I alone used to go about in the invisible things, like the sun from the east to west, and from west to east. But even the sun has peace in itself, while I found no peace, because I was creating all things, and I conceived the thought of placing foundations, and of creating visible creation. I commanded in the very lowest parts that visible things should come down from invisible. And Adoil came down very great, and I beheld him, and lo, he had a belly of great light. And I said to him, become undone, Adoil, and let the visible come out of thee. And he came undone, and a great light came out. And I was in the midst of the great light, and as there is born from light, light from light, there came forth a great age, and showed all creation which I had thought to create. And as I saw that it was good, and I placed for myself a throne, and took my seat on it, and said to the light, go thou up higher, and fix thyself high above the throne, and be a foundation to the highest things. And above the light there was nothing else, and then I bent up and looked up from my throne. And I summoned the very lowest second time, and said, let Arcus come forth hard. And he came forth hard from the invisible. And Arcus came forth hard, heavy, and very red. And I said, be opened, Arcus, and let there be born from thee. And he came undone, and the age came forth, very great and very dark, bearing the creation of all lower things. And I saw that it was good, and said to him, go thou down below, and make thyself firm, and be for a foundation for the lower things. And it happened, and he went down and fixed himself, and became the foundation for the lower things. And below the darkness there is nothing else. And I commanded that there should be taken from light and darkness, and I said, be thick, and it became thus. And I spread it out with the light, and it became water. And I spread it out over the darkness below the light. And then I made firm the waters, that is to say, the bottomless. And I made foundation of light around the water, and created 7 circles from inside, and imagined it like crystal, wet and dry, that is to say, like glass. And the circumcision of the waters and the other elements, and I showed each one of them its road, and the 7 stars, each one of them in the heaven, that they go thus. And I say that it is good. And I separated between light and between darkness, that is to say, in the midst of the waters, hither and thither. And I said to the light that it should be the day, and to the darkness that it should be the night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And then I made firm the heavenly circle, and made that the lower water which is under heaven collect itself together into one whole, and that the chaos become dry, and it became so. Out of the water, out of the waves, I created rock hard and big. And from the rock I piled up the dry, and the dry I called earth. In the midst of the earth I called abyss. That is to say, the bottomless. I collected the sea in one place and bound it together with a yoke. And I said to the sea, Behold, I give thee thy eternal limits, and thou shalt not break loose from thy component parts. Thus I made fast the firmament. This day I called me the first created. And for all the heavenly troops, I imaged the image and essence of fire. And my eye looked at the very hard, firm rock, and from the gleam of my eye the lightning received its wonderful nature, which is both fire and water and fire. And one does not put out the other, nor does the one dry up the other. Therefore the lightning is brighter than the sun, softer than water, and firmer than hard rock. And from the rock I cut off a great fire, and from the fire I created the orders of the incorporeal 10 troops of angels. And their weapons are fiery, and their raiment a burning flame. And I commanded that each one should stand in his order. Here Satanel with his angels was thrown down from the height, and one from out of the order of angels, having turned away with the order that was under him, conceived an impossible thought, to place his throne higher than the clouds above the earth, that he might become equal in rank to my power. And I threw him out from the height with his angels, and he was flying in the air continuously above the bottomless.
So right here, there's a quick pause here.
Okay.
I just wanted to go over, thanks everybody. Did you switch the slide?
It says Book of the Secrets of Enoch.
That's what we're reading, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, you were just what I was just getting from what you were saying was, so Satan had just been thrown down from heaven, right? But before that, he was speaking, and from the 4 heavenly troops, I imagined the image of the essence of fire, and mine eye looked upon the very hard, firm rock. So it's crazy how, it's not crazy, but what I wanted to point out is everything was made from light. So first there was light that was created, and then he told the light to separate itself and bring forth things that were hard, and the upper light was brought forth to solidate the upper heavens. And I just wanted to point that out, Jason. You can keep going till maybe like slide 35, 36. But yeah, how's this? What do you guys think of this the thumbnail here? Am I getting any better, brother?
Oh, this is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I'm trying to impress everybody. I'm trying to keep up the hard work, brothers and sisters.
No, it's a creation. It's laid down. It's here now. And beautiful. The Book of the Secrets of Enoch. Thank you.
Let's keep it going, bro.
On the 3rd day, I commanded the earth to make grow great and fruitful trees and hills, and seed to sow, and I planted paradise, and enclosed it, and placed as armed guardians flaming angels, and thus I created renewal. Then came evening, and came morning, the 4th day, Wednesday. On the 4th day, I commanded that there should be great lights on the heavenly circles. On the first uppermost circle, I placed the stars, Chrono, and on the second, Aphrodite, and on the third, Eris, and on the 5th, Zeus, and on the 6th, Hermes, and on the 7th, Lesser, the moon, and adorned it with the lesser stars. And on the lower, I placed the sun for the illumination of day, and the moon and stars for the illumination of night. The sun, that it should go according to each animal, signs of the zodiac, 12. And I appointed the succession of the months, and their names and lives, their thunderings, and their hour markings, how they should succeed. And then evening came, and morning came, the 5th day, Thursday. On the 5th day I commanded the sea that it should bring forth fishes and feathered birds of many varieties, and all animals creeping over the earth, going forth over the earth on 4 legs, and soaring in the air, male sex and female, and every soul breathing the spirit of life. And there came evening, and there came morning, the 6th day. Friday. On the 6th day, I commanded my wisdom to create man from 7 consistencies. 1, his flesh from the earth. 2, his blood from the dew. 3, his eyes from the sun. 4, his bones from stone. 5, his intelligence from the swiftness of the angels and from clouds. 6, his veins from his hair, and his hair from the grass of the earth. 7, his soul from my breath and from the wind. And I gave him 7 natures, to the flesh hearing, to the eyes for sight, to the soul smell, the veins for touch, the blood for taste, the bones for endurance, and to the intelligence sweetness or enjoyment. I conceived a cunning saying to say, I created man from invisible and from visible nature. Of both are his death and life and image. He knows speech like some created thing, small in greatness, and again great in smallness. And I placed him on earth, a second angel, honorable, great, and glorious. And I appointed him as ruler to rule on earth and to have my wisdom. And there was none like him of earth of all my existing creatures.
So yeah, God just called us angels, right? So remember when I was quoting back from the Cave of Treasures that when they went down and fell, it was men that were angels that made this covenant and left the mountain, right? And we're starting to get this deeper knowledge that even I, who have been reading this book for 5 years, have now just come to understand even more depths. But please read.
And I appointed him a name from the 4 component parts, from east, from west, from south, from north, and I appointed for him 4 special stars, and I called his name Adam, and showed him the 2 ways, the light and the darkness, and I told him, this is good and that bad, that I should learn whether he has love towards me or hatred, that it be clear which is in his race loves me. For I have seen his nature, but he has not seen his own nature. Therefore, through not seeing, he will sin worse. And I said, after sin, what is there but death? And I put sleep into him, and he fell asleep. And I took from him a rib, and created him a wife, that death should come to him by his wife. And I took his last word, and called her name Mother, that is to say, Eva.
Do you want me to take over?
Sure.
Great job, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Love when you read, man. It's great. Oh, I think you just read this. Were you on slide 34? Yeah. Next slide. It says, Adam and his life on earth. And I created a garden in Eden in the east, that it should observe the testament and keep the commandment. And I made the heavens open. And I made the heavens open to him, that he should see the angels singing the song of victory and the luminous light. And he was continuously in paradise. And the devil understood that I wanted to create another world, because Adam was Lord on earth to rule and control it. The devil is the evil spirit of the lower places. As a fugitive, he made Satana from the heavens, as a name was Satana. Thus, he became different from the angels, but his nature did not change in his intelligence as far as his understanding of righteous and sinful things. And he understood his commandment, condemnation, and the sin which he had sinned before. Therefore, he conceived thought against Adam. In such form, he entered and seduced Eve, but not to touch Adam. But I cursed ignorance. But what I had blessed previously, those I did not curse. I cursed not man, nor the earth, nor other creatures, but man's evil fruit and his works. And I said to him,
brother, yeah, I just might say that the music might be a little loud, and your mic might be a little low right now.
Good. Thanks for the heads up. Check, check. Is that a little bit louder? Check, 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 check. Check, check. Did it get louder?
Yeah.
Okay, here, let's try again. Is the music still too loud?
I don't know if it's just on my side. It's coming through a little loud.
There, I turned it down. Should be better now. Can you guys hear me? Oh, can you hear me? Is that better?
That's way better. That's way better.
Okay, hang on. I'll just turn this down a little bit. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm far from perfect, but worked so hard for this, and then to have it fall. Forgive me, friends. And I said to him, Earth thou art, and into the earth whence I took thee, thou shalt go. And I will not ruin thee, but send thee whence I took thee. Then I can again take thee, and my second time coming. And I blessed all my creatures, visible and invisible. And Adam was 5.5 hours in paradise. And I blessed the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, on which he rested from all his works. And I appointed the eighth day also, that the eighth day should be the first created after my work, and that the first 7 revolve in the form of the 7,000, and that at the beginning of the 8,000 there should be a time of not counting, endless, with neither years, nor months, nor weeks, nor days, nor hours. And now, Enoch, all that I have told thee, all thou hast understood, all thou hast seen of heavenly things, and all that hast seen on earth, and all that I have written in books, by my great wisdom, all these things I have devised and created from the uppermost foundation to the lower and to the end. And there is no counselor, no inheritor to my creations. I am self-eternal, not made with hands, and without change. My thought is my counselor, my wisdom and my word are made, and my eyes observe all things, how they stand, hear, and tremble with terror. If I turn away my face, then all things will be destroyed. And apply thy mind, Enoch, and know him who is speaking to thee, and take thou the books which thou thyself hast written. And I gave thee Samuel and Raguel, who led thee up, and the books, and go down to the earth, and tell thy sons all that I have told thee, and all that thou hast seen, from the lower heaven up to my throne, and all the troops. For I created all forces, and there is none that resisteth me, or that does not subject himself to me, for all subject themselves to my monarchy, and labor for that my soul. Give them the books of thy handwriting, and they will read them, and will know me for the creator of all things, and will understand how there is no other God but me. And let them distribute the books of thy handwriting, children to children, generation to generation, nations to nations. And I will give thee, Enoch, my intercessor, the archistrate, Michael, for the handwritings of thy fathers, Adam, Seth, Enos, Canaan, Mahalalel, and Jared, thy father. They have rejected my commandments and my yoke. Worthless seed has come up, not fearing God. They would not bow down to me, but have begun to bow down to vain gods, and denied my unity, and have laden the whole earth with untruths, offenses, abominable heresies, namely one with another, and all manner of unclean wickedness, which are disgusting to relate. And therefore I will bring down a deluge upon the earth, and I will destroy all men, and the whole earth will crumble together into great darkness. Behold, from their seed shall arise another generation, much afterwards, but of them many will still be initiated. He who raises this generation shall reveal to them the books of thy handwriting, of thy fathers, to them to whom he must point out the guardianship of the world, to the faithful men and workers of my pleasure, who do not acknowledge my name in vain. And they shall tell another generation, and those others, having read, shall be glorified thereafter, more than the first. So people at home, this is being fulfilled right now. There was a question in the chat earlier, how do we know which books are canon or not? Well, we know which books are canon by the witnesses in the Bible. Jude wrote about Enoch and stated his lineage, seventh from Adam, and then Second Peter was then written around Jude, as well as we have references in the book of Genesis to the book of Enoch, and it says here that these books should be returned. I just read it. To the men, he who raises that generation shall reveal to them the books of thy handwriting, and thy fathers to them, to whom must point out the guardianship of the world, to the workers of my pleasure, who do not use my name in vain, and they shall tell another generation. So this is the generation that was to come, right, Jason?
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to point out too, Parable of the Vineyard is asking, is this Enoch 2 or 3? And I guess neither, right? This is the secret book of Enoch.
I thought it's the secret book, the book of the secrets of Enoch. So I believe it's like a Enoch 2, but it's I got it with the Sacred Writings website that we've been going through all the other books from. But Robert Farrell has this up, the secret book of Enoch, he calls it. So I guess it's the book of the secrets of Enoch.
Yeah. So as you look into a lot of these apocryphal texts, you'll see different names applied to the same text, or you'll see similar texts broken into different parts with different names. So it's a little difficult to be exact on that. But what we're going to do is definitely post the links to this book and explain where this text comes from, and we do that with all the books that we're covering.
That's right. And we've already had multiple witnesses to the book of Adam and Eve, as well as the Cave of Treasures, and as well as the 66 book Bible. There's been tons of parables that have been spoken of, including Paul's admonition that we serve a God that wasn't created by hands or man. And Enoch he just wrote that. Well, actually, this book states that Enoch wrote 366 books. As far as I've counted right now, we're still missing quite a few books. Do you want to keep going, Jay? I'll turn it over to you.
Sure.
It's slide 40. So you can read 10 more, and then we'll switch it, or however you want to go, brother. We're almost to the end.
Yeah, just let me know.
And then we'll open up the phone lines if Adam wants to call in. We should have time.
Now, Enoch, I give thee the term of 30 days to spend in thy house, and tell thy sons and all thy household, that all may hear from my face what is told them by thee, that they may read and understand how there is no other God but me, and that they may always keep my commandments, and begin to read and take in the books of thy handwriting. And after 30 days I shall send my angel for thee, and he will take thee from earth and from thy sons to me. And the Lord called up one of the elder angels, terrible and menacing, and placed him by me, in appearance white as snow, and his hands like ice, having the appearance of great frost. And he froze my face, because I could not endure the terror of the Lord, just as it is not possible to endure a stove's fire in the sun's heat and the frost of the air. And the Lord said to me, Enoch, if thy face be not frozen here, no man would be able to behold thy face. And the Lord said to those men who first led me up, let Enoch go down unto the earth with you, and await him till the determined day. And they placed me by night on my couch. And Methuselah, expecting my coming, keeping watch by day and by night at my couch, was filled with awe when he heard me coming. And I told him, let all my household come together, that I tell them everything. O my children, my beloved children, hear the admonition of your Father as much as in according to the Lord's will. I have been let come to you today and announce to you, not from my lips, but from the Lord's lips, all that is and was, and all that is now, and all that will be till judgment day. For the Lord has let me come to you. You hear therefore the words of my lips, of a man made big for you. But I am one who has seen the Lord's face, like iron made to glow from fire. It sends forth sparks and burns. You look now upon my eyes, the eyes of a man big with meaning for you. But I have seen the Lord's eyes, shining like the sun's rays, and filling the eyes of a man with awe. You see me now, my children, the right hand of a man that helps you. But I have seen the Lord's right hand filling heaven as be helped me. You see the compass of my work like your own, but I have seen the Lord's limitless and perfect compass, which has no end. You hear the words of my lips, as I heard the words of the Lord, like great thunder incessantly with hurling of clouds. And now, my children, hear the discourses of the Father of the earth. How fearful and awful it is to come before the face of the ruler of the earth. How much more terrible and awful it is to come before the face of the ruler of heaven, the controller of quick and dead, and of the heavenly troops. Who can endure that endless pain? And now, my children, I know all things, for this is from the Lord's lips. And this my eyes have seen from beginning to end. And I know all things, and have written all things into books, the heavens and their end, and their plenitude, and all the armies and their marchings. I have measured and described the stars, the great countless multitude of them. What man has seen their revolutions and their entrances? For not even the angels see their number, while I have written all their names. And I measured the sun's circle, and measured its rays, counted the hours, and I wrote down, to all things that go over the earth, I have written the things that are nourished, all seeds sown and unsown, which the earth produces, and all plants, and every grass, and every flower, and their sweet smells, and their names, and the dwelling places of the clouds, and their composition, and their wings, and how they bear rain and raindrops. And I investigated all things, and wrote the road of the thunder and of the lightning, and they showed me the keys and their guardians, their rise, the way they go. It is let out in measure, gently, by a chain, lest by a heavy chain and violence it hurl down the angry clouds and destroy all things on earth. I wrote the treasure houses of the snow, and the storehouses of the cold and the frosty airs, and I observed their seasons keyholder. He fills the clouds with them, and does not exhaust the treasure houses. And I wrote the resting places of the winds, and observed and saw how they keyholders bear weighing scales and measures. First, they put them in one weighing scale, then in the other the weights, and let them out according to the measure cunningly over the whole earth, lest by heavy breathing they make the earth to rock. And I measured out the whole earth, its mountains and all hills, fields, trees, stones, rivers, all existing things I wrote down, the height from earth to the seventh heaven, and downwards to the very lowest hell, and the judgment place, and the very great, open and weeping hell. And I saw how the prisoners are in pain, expecting a limitless judgment. And I wrote down all those being judged by the judge, and all their judgments, sentences, and all their works. I, my children, measured and wrote out every work, in every measure, in every righteous judgment. As one year is more honorable than another, so is one man more honorable than another, some for great possessions, some for wisdom of heart, some for particular intellect, some for cunning, one for silence of lip, another for cleanliness, one for strength, another for comeliness, one for youth, another for sharp wit, one for shape of body, another for sensibility. Let it be heard everywhere, but there is none better than he who fears God, he shall be more glorious in time to come. Do you want to take over? Keep going if...
Yeah, I could. Okay. You had 4 more, but... Right?
You want me to do 4 more? I can do 4 more.
4. Yeah, and then I'll do the last 10.
Okay. The Lord with his hands having created man, in the likeness of his own face, the Lord made him small and great. Whoever reviles the ruler's face and abhors the Lord's face has despised the Lord's face, and he who vents anger on any man without injury. The Lord's great anger will cut him down. He who spits on the face of man reproachfully, he will be cut down at the Lord's great judgment. Blessed is the man who does not direct his heart with malice against any man, and helps the injured and condemned, and raises the broken down, and should do charity to the needy. Because on the day of the great judgment, every weight, every measure, and every make weight will be as in the market. That is to say, they are hung on scales and stand in the market. Everyone shall learn his own measure, and according to his measure shall take his reward.
That's huge, everybody. Just wanted to point that out. Everything is measured. Be careful of everything, people. Everything.
Stay away from the things that are condemned, and try to do as much of the things that are encouraged as possible. Whoever hastens to make offering before the Lord's face, the Lord for his part will hasten that offering by granting of his work. But whoever increases his lamp before the Lord's face and make not true judgment, the Lord will not increase his treasure in the realm of the highest. When the Lord demands bread or candles or flesh, cattle, or any other sacrifice, then that is nothing. But God demands pure hearts, and with all that only tests the heart of man. Oh, how an earthly ruler does not accept from man abominable and unclean gifts, then how much more so does God abominate unclean gifts, but sends them away with wrath and does not accept his gifts. Hear, my people, and take in the words of my lips. If anyone bring any gifts to an earthly ruler and have disloyal thoughts in his heart, and the ruler know this, will he not be angry with him and not refuse his gifts and not give him over to judgment? Or if one man maketh himself appear good to another by deceit of tongue, but have evil in his heart, then will not the other understand the treachery of his heart, and himself be condemned, since his untruth was plain to all? And when the Lord shall send a great light, then there will be judgment for the just and the unjust, and there no one shall escape notice. And now, my children, lay thought on your hearts. Mark well the words of your Father, which are all come to you from the Lord's lips. Take these books of your Father's handwriting and read them. For the books are many, and in them you will learn all the Lord's works, and all that has been from the beginning of creation, and will be to the end of time. And if you will observe my handwriting, you will not sin against the Lord, because there is no other except the Lord, neither in heaven, nor on earth, nor in the very lowest places, nor in the one foundation. The Lord has placed the foundations in the unknown, and has spread forth heavens visible and invisible. He fixed the earth on the waters, and created countless creatures. And it was counted the water in the foundation of the unfixed, or the dust of the earth, or the sand of the sea, or the drops of the rain, or the morning dew, or the wind's breathings. Who has filled earth and sea in the indissoluble winter? I cut the stars out of fire, and decorated heaven, and put it in their midst. You want to take over, brother?
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to mention that was heavily psalmish. Anybody who's read the Psalms should have like tons of bells going off. Like that was pure Psalms. Even more depth. You can really hear where the inspiration of the word comes through. Hopefully everything sounds good. You can hear me, and music isn't too loud.
Sounds good.
We're almost through this. We'll take a couple callers and maybe have Terry join us tonight, but let's get into this. And it says that the sun go along the 7 heavenly circles or circuits, which are the appointment of the 182 thrones, that it go down on a short day, and again 182, that it go down on a big day. And he has 2 thrones on which he rests, revolving hither and thither above the thrones of the months. For the 17th day of the month Tisvan, it goes down to the month Thavan. From the 17th of Thavan, it goes up, and thus it goes close to the earth. Then the earth is and makes it grow fruit. And when it goes away, then the earth is sad, and the trees and the fruits have no fluorescence. All this he measured with good measurement of hours, and fixed a measure by his wisdom of the visible and the invisible. From the invisible he made all things visible, himself being invisible. Thus I make known to you, my children, and distribute the books to your children, into all your generations, and amongst all nations who shall have the sense to fear Yahweh. Let them receive them, and may they come to love them more than any food of earthly sweets, and read them and apply themselves to them. And those who understand not the Lord, who fear not God, who accept not, but reject, who do not receive them, the books, a terrible judgment awaits these. Blessed is the man who shall bear their yoke and shall drag them along, for he shall be released on the day of the great judgment. I just wanted to point out here that the referring of scriptures to food is one of the higher level understandings, just like Yahawashi was the bread and the Spirit was the wine. That's why he said, you have the blood, you have to drink my blood, which was the Holy Spirit, and you have to eat the bread, which was because Yahawashi, Jesus, was the Word of God. John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So I just wanted to say that here is another, I'm getting so much New Testament doctrine tonight from these scriptures. It's unbelievable, guys. This is like a pre-New Testament, New Testament. It's unbelievable that this is happening. Jason?
Yeah, this is third dispensation, brother. This is what the book talks about when it says it's for that future generation. And
right, and even when it was denouncing sacrifices, it said these sacrifices are nothing, but yet you send your sacrifice of the heart. These are what are with value. That's a Paul doctrine. Paul was referencing these books, people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that so as we have context, as we know the 66 books, and we know these additional books, each one, if something isn't in harmony, then we know that something's out. But they continue to be in harmony and give added detail.
Greater detail, right? Just like this next scripture right here. And it says, I swear to you, my children, but I swear not by any oath, neither by heaven nor earth, nor by any other creature which Yahweh created. The Lord said, there is no oath in me, no injustice, but truth. If there is no truth in men, let them swear by the words yea, yea, or else nay, nay. And we know that in the New Testament it says, make your yeses yes and your no's no, right? Okay, I'll keep going. And I swear to you, yea, yea, that there has been no man in his mother's womb, but that already before, even to each one, there is a place prepared for the repose of the soul, and a measure fixed how much it is intended that a man be tried in this world. Yea, children, deceive not yourselves, for there has been previously prepared a place for every soul of man. I have put every man's work in writing, and none born on earth can remain hidden, nor his works remain concealed. I see all things. Now, therefore, my children, in patience and meekness, spend the number of your days that you inherit endless life. Endure for the sake of the Lord every wound, every injury, and every evil word and attack. If ill requitals befall you, return them not either to thy neighbor or enemy, because the Lord will return them for you and be your avenger on the day of the great judgment. That there be no avenging here among men. Whomever of you spends gold or silver for his brother's sake, he will receive ample treasure in the world to come. Endure not widows, nor orphans, nor strangers, lest God's wrath come upon you. Stretch out your hands to the poor according to your strength. Hide not your silver in the earth. Help the faithful man in affliction, and affliction will not find you in the time of your trouble. And every grievous and cruel yoke that come upon you, bear all for the sake of Yahweh, and thus you will find your reward in the day of judgment. It is good to go morning, midday, and evening into the Lord's dwelling, for the glory of your Creator, because every breathing thing glorifies him, and every creature, visible and invisible, returns him praise. Blessed is the man who opens his lips in praise of God of Sabbath and praises the Lord with his heart. Cursed is every man who opens his lips for bringing into contempt and clamoring of his neighbor, because he brings God into contempt. Blessed is he who opens his lips, blessing and praising Yahweh. Cursed is he before the Lord of all days of his life, who opens his lips to curse and abuse. Blessed is he who blesses all the Lord's works. Cursed is he who brings the Lord's creation into contempt. Blessed is he who looks down and raises the fallen. Cursed is he who looks to eat and is eager for the destruction of what is not his. Blessed is he who keeps the foundations of his fathers made firm from the beginning. Cursed is he who perverts the decrees of his forefathers. And blessed is he who implants peace and love. Cursed is he who disturbs those that love their neighbors. And blessed is he who speaks with humble tongue and heart to all. Cursed is he who speaks peace with his tongue, while his heart there is no peace but a sword. For all these things will be laid bare in the weighing scales and in the books on the day of that great judgment. And now, my children, do not say, our Father is standing before God and is praying for our sins, for there is no helper of any man who has sinned. You see how I wrote all works of every man before his creation, all that is done amongst all men for all time. And none can tell or relate my handwriting, because the Lord sees all the imaginings of man, how they are vain, where they lie in the treasure houses of the heart. And now, my children, mark well all the words of your father that I tell you, lest you regret, saying, why did our father not tell us? Enoch instructs his sons that they should hand the books to others also. At that time, not understanding this, let these books which I have given to you be for an inheritance of your peace. Hand them to all who want them, and instruct them that they may see the Lord's very great and marvelous works, which we are doing right now, everybody on the other side of the screen. And Methuselah asks his father blessing that he, Methuselah, may make him, Enoch, food to eat. Methuselah, having answered his father Enoch, said, what is agreeable in thine eyes, Father, that I may make before thy face, that thou mayest bless our dwellings and thy sons, and that thy people may be made glorious through thee, and that thou mayest depart thus? And the Lord said, Enoch answered to his son Methuselah and said, hear, child, for the time when the Lord anointed me with the anointment of his glory, there has been no food in me, and my soul remembers not earthly enjoyment, neither do I want anything earthly. Enoch bade his son Methuselah to summon all his brethren. My child Methuselah, summon all thy brethren and our household and the elders of thy people, that I may talk to them and depart as I planned for me. And Methuselah made haste and summoned his brethren, Raijim, Ra'aman, Ukachan, Cherimon, Gaidad, and all the elders of the people before the face of his father Enoch. And he blessed them and said to them, listen to me, my children, today. In those days when the Lord came down to the earth for Adam's sake and visited all his creatures, which he created himself, after all these he created Adam. And the Lord called all the beasts of the earth and all the reptiles and all the birds that soar in the air, and brought them all before the face of our father Adam. And Adam gave the names to the things of the living on earth. And the Lord appointed him ruler over all, and subjected him to all things under his hands, and made them dumb and made them dull, that they may be commanded of man, and be in subjection and obedience to him. Thus, the Lord created every man Lord over his possessions. The Lord will not judge a single soul of a beast for man's sake, but judges the souls of men to their beasts in this world. For men have a special place, and as every soul of a man is according to the number, similarly, beasts will not perish, nor all souls of beasts which the Lord created, till the great judgment, and they will accuse man if he feed them ill. Whoever defiles the soul of beasts defiles his own soul. For man brings clean animals to make sacrifice for sin, that he may have cure of his soul. And if they bring for sacrifice clean animals and birds, man has cure, he cures his soul. All is given you for food. Bind it by 4 feet, that it is to make good the cure, and cures his soul. But whoever kills a beast without wounds kills his own and defiles his own flesh. And he who does any beast any injury whatsoever in secret, it is evil practice, and he defiles his own soul. He who works the killing of a man's soul kills his own soul and kills his own body, and there is no cure for him at all. He who puts a man in any snare shall stick in himself, and there is no cure for him for all time. He who puts a man in any vessel, his retribution will not be wanting at the great judgment for all time. He who works crookedly or speaks evil against any soul will not make justice for himself for all time. Enoch then instructs to keep themselves from unjust and often to stretch forth hands to the poor and to give and share and of their labors. And now, my children, keep your hearts from every injustice, which the Lord hates. Just as a man asks something for his own soul from God, so let him do everything living soul. Let him to do every living soul, because I know all things, how in the great time to come are many mansions prepared for men, good for the good and bad for the bad, without number many. Again, that's another New Testament reference to the many. If I go to the many mansions, many rooms in my Father's mansions, Yahawashi said, right? If I do not tell you, it would be not so. But I go there to prepare a place for you, and then I will come and take you back to that place where I am. So this is again another huge. Hear, my children, small and great. When man puts a good thought in his heart, brings gifts from his labors before the Lord's face, and his hands made them not, then the Lord will turn away his face from the labor of his hand, and he, man, cannot find the labor of his hands. And if his hands made it, but his heart murmur, and his heart cease not making murmur incessantly, he has not any advantage. Blessed is the man who in his patience brings his gifts with faith before the Lord's face, because he will find forgiveness of sins. But if he take back his words before the time, there is no repentance for him. And if the time pass and he do not of his own will what is promised, there is no repentance after death. Because every work which man does before the time is all deceit before men and sin before God, of how not to despise the poor, but to share with them equally, lest thou be murmured against before God. When man clothes the naked and fills the hungry, he will find reward from God. But if his heart murmur, he commits a double evil and ruin himself and of that which he gives. And for him there will be no finding of reward on account of that. And if his heart is filled with his food and his own flesh clothed with his clothing, he commits contempt and forfeit all his endurance of poverty and will not find reward of his good deeds. Every proud and malevolent man is hateful to the Lord, and every false speech clothed in untruth, it will be cut with the blade of the sword of death and thrown into the fire and shall burn for all time. Do you want to finish it, Jay? I'm starting to trip over words here.
No problem. I got it. When Enoch had spoken these words to his sons, all people far and near heard how the Lord was calling Enoch. They took counsel together. Let us go and kiss Enoch. And 2,000 men came together and came to the place, Ekuzan, where Enoch was, and his sons. And the elders of the people, the whole assembly, came and bowed down and began to kiss Enoch and said to him, Our father Enoch, be thou blessed of the Lord, the eternal ruler, and now bless thy sons and all thy people, that we may be glorified today before thy face. For thou shalt be glorified before the Lord's face for all time, since the Lord chose thee rather than all men on earth, and designated thee writer of all his creation, visible and invisible, and redeemer of the sins of man, and helper of thy household. And Enoch answered all his people, saying, Hear, my children, before that all creatures were created, the Lord created the visible and invisible things. And as much time as there was and went past, understand that after that he created man in the likeness of his own form, and put into him eyes to see, and ears to hear, and heart to reflect, and intellect wherewith to deliberate. And the Lord saw all man's works, and created all his creatures, and divided time. From time he fixed the years, and from the years he appointed the months. And from the months he appointed the days, and of days he appointed 7. And in those he appointed the hours, measured them out exactly, that man might reflect on time and count years, months, and hours, their alternation, beginning and end, and that he might count his own life from the beginning until death, and reflect on all his sin, and write his work bad and good, because no work is hidden before the Lord, that every man might know his works and never transgress all his commandments, and keep my handwriting from generation to generation. And Enoch answered all his people, saying, Hear, my children, before that all creatures were created, the Lord created the visible. What?
That's a double.
Okay. Gotcha. When all creation, visible and invisible, as the Lord created it, shall end, then every man goes to the great judgment, and then all time shall perish, and the years, and thereafterward there will be neither months nor days nor hours. They will be stuck together and will not be counted. There will be one eon, and all the righteous who shall escape the Lord's great judgment shall be collected in the great eon. For the righteous, the great eon will begin, and they will live eternally. And then too there will be amongst them neither labor, nor sickness, nor humiliation, nor anxiety, nor need, nor violence, nor night, nor darkness, but great light. And they shall have a great indestructible wall, and a paradise bright and incorruptible, for all corruptible things shall pass away, and there will be eternal life. And now, my children, keep your souls from all injustice, such as the Lord hates. Walk before his face with terror and trembling, and serve him alone. Bow down to the true God, not to dumb idols, but bow down to his picture and bring all just offerings before the Lord's face. The Lord hates what is unjust, for the Lord sees all things. When man takes thought in his heart, then he counsels the intellects, and every thought is always before the Lord, who made firm the earth and put all creatures on it. If you look to heaven, the Lord is there. If you take thought of the seas deep and all the under earth, the Lord is there. For the Lord created all things. Bow not down to things made up by man, even the Lord of all creation, because no work can remain hidden before the Lord's face.
So that was a reference to the Book of Thomas, too, right?
It is.
Yep.
Walk, my children, in long suffering, in meekness, honesty, in provocation, in grief, in faith, and in truth, in reliance on promises, in illness, in abuse, in wounds, in temptation, in nakedness, in privation, loving one another till you go out from this age of ills, that you become inheritors of endless time. Blessed are the just who shall escape the great judgment, for they shall shine forth more than the sun sevenfold. For in this world the seventh part is taken off from all: light, darkness, food, enjoyment, sorrow, paradise, torture, fire, frost, and other things. put all down in writing, that you might read and understand. The Lord let out darkness onto earth and covered the people on Enoch, and he was taken up on high, and light came again in the heaven. When Enoch had talked to the people, the Lord sent out darkness onto the earth, and there was darkness, and it covered those men standing with Enoch. And they took Enoch up onto the highest heaven where the Lord is, and he received him and placed him before his face. And the darkness went off from the earth, and light came again. And the people saw and understood not how Enoch had been taken, and glorified God, and found a roll in which was traced the invisible God, and all went to their homes. He was taken up to heaven on the first day of the month Tisvan, and remained in heaven 60 days. He wrote all these signs of all creation which the Lord created, and wrote 366 books, and handed them over to his sons, and remained on earth 30 days, and was again taken up to heaven on the sixth day of the month Tisvan, on the very day and hour when he was born. As every man's nature in this life is dark, so are also his conception, birth, and departure from this life. At what hour he was conceived, at that hour he was born, and at that hour too he died. Methuselah and his brethren, all the sons of Enoch, made haste and erected an altar at the place called Akuzan, whence and where Enoch had been taken up to heaven. And they took sacrificial oxen, and summoned all people, and sacrificed the sacrifice before the Lord's face. All people, the elders of the people, and the whole assembly came to the feast, and brought gifts to the sons of Enoch. And they made a great feast, rejoicing and making merry 3 days, praising God, who had given them such a sign through Enoch, who had found favor with him, and that they should hand it on to their sons from generation to generation, from age to age. Amen.
Amen, brother. That was... Wow. I don't...
I'm not hearing you, and I can't get out of the slide.
You can't hear me? I should be coming through nice. I've got the screen share, bro. I've got the screen share.
Now I can sort of hear you.
Yeah, I got the screen share. We're looking at the book of the secrets of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and the righteousness. Similar to the first book of Adam and Eve, it gives a nice run through of everything. I was really surprised at the
We're having some audio trouble. We're having some audio trouble, brother.
Are you sure? It should be good. Check.
There. All of a sudden it popped through.
Okay. Yeah. Is it still loud?
Now it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible, right? The references to Psalms, to Paul, to so much, right?
Yeah.
Did we still have Adam in the chat? I don't know if he left, but love to hear from him to call in. Put the number there. It's 254-262-6427. I'm just gonna turn this off. Shut down the music here. And we'll maybe bring on Terry Zoppi.
Yeah, if he wants to come on. What a beautiful book that was.
Oh yeah, it truly, truly was. Let me get Terry here.
Any questions in the chat? Anybody?
It was nice to see Cameron as well. Hey, brother, nice to see you tonight. You were in a couple of Jason's videos that are coming up. Well, there's some clips of you there.
Yeah, it's positive. Don't worry.
Oh, it's all good, of course. I invited Terry. I'm going to put the number again. If anybody would like to call in, now's your chance. If you want to discuss anything, we always like to have everybody kind of with us here. That was the book of the secrets of Enoch, and it really went through basically almost start to finish, right?
Yeah. So there's stuff that the regular book of Enoch that most of us are familiar with. You know, there's stuff in there like the course of the luminaries is a little bit different, more detail in the traditional book of Enoch, and there's a number of things. This was a summation that sort of skims across like book 2 and 3, and sort of compiles those together. But it doesn't. It's missing detail. We've got more to pick up.
Yeah, we could go more into depth, but that I did give a great accounting of all the books, everything creation. It's amazing how many references there are in that book to the New Testament, the Old Testament. It's just baffling me right now. I had so many lights going off. Oh, we got a caller. You got to make sure you change the microphone as well.
Mm-hmm.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello, you are live on the Limitless channel. Just a second, I'm switching audio around.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you are live on the Limitless channel right now.
Yes, I wanted to touch on something. I had called before and I had mentioned that and Daniel and you the deception, you know what I mean, the beast will deceive, he will overcome the saints to the time of the end, and the saints gonna overcome the beast or something like that. I can't remember. But I was thinking, the greatest deception could only be the deception of a person thinking they have salvation when they don't. That's the biggest deception. Because remember, when Christ said he returns, he's gonna say people gonna say,
Lord. Oh, the call cut out, but I think he was going to say, Lord, have we not, prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name? And Yahawashi rebukes him and says, get away from me, you workers of lawlessness. I do not know you.
It could be people that just accept the 66 books. It seems to be a big thing to deny any of his word. It kind of is like Robert Farrell put it that it was sinning against the Holy Spirit, basically, to deny God's word.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've been saying that the great deception is flat earth, but the caller, makes a valid point that your salvation is probably more important, but salvation is dependent on a person's heart condition, that they're true seekers, that they reject unrighteous behavior. They do righteous behavior. So that's a heart condition that's just manifests itself. Are we joined?
I think we've been joined by Terry Zoppi. You can unmute and turn your camera on if you'd like, brother.
You're live, Terry, but you're muted right now.
You got to hit the microphone symbol. It's super nice to have you. There you go. Terry. We're not getting any volume. hopefully he gets figured out, because he's been going back through Beyond Flat Earth, and it's great. He's one of our most truth seeking friends, really. Do we got him now?
Can you hear me?
Yep,
we can
loud
hear
and
you now.
clear.
See, I don't
So
have
this
video, but
This is the final countdown, Terry Zoppi.
yeah, just trying to do what I can.
How are you doing,
So,
Terry?
I'm doing good.
So what did you think of the scriptures tonight?
Oh, they were awesome. I mean, having read the Book of Thomas here recently myself, there were some good references to Thomas there, especially towards the end.
It all starts fitting together like pieces of a puzzle, right?
It sure does.
Yeah. And definitely the cleave the stone and the wood, and I'm there, and split the stone. You can find me there as well. Also the Secret Book of James. But yeah, so I was listening to your podcast, Terry, and you were saying that you had gone back and started to watch Beyond Flat Earth again.
Yeah, there's a lot of your guys' videos I haven't watched, and I heard you reference some of your other callers the other week that watched the flat Beyond Flat Earth ones, and so I just decided to go and start at the bottom and start working my way up to the top.
So what do you think? We haven't gone through that material in a long time. How's it sound to you?
Oh, it's good. I mean, I'm totally on board. While watching you go through, you're building your little table, and I mean, whenever you get past the whole flat Earth and that the Yahweh is the God from the Bible, then you start realizing the depth of the deception that's going on, and it's all around me here. So I mean, it's really hard to concentrate. I mean, I have to be out there every day, surrounded with it at work, and I try to do the best I can.
Yeah, it's a challenge for
yeah.
sure.
That's what we do, brother. And then slowly but surely, things start to work themselves out. Like, remember when we were doing all those shows, I was in Canada, Terry. You mentioned that, how lucky Jason and I are to be roommates. Well, for a year we weren't. And we were doing things from 3,000 miles away. And so if you continue to hold fast with what you're doing, Terry, there's no one that says you couldn't be joining us one day, brother. We'd love to have you in the community. I hear you're a cook, right? Is that true?
Yeah, I am.
That's great. Do you love it, or do you just do it for work?
Oh no! Back when my parents got divorced, I see the food that my dad and my brother was cooking. I was like, man, I'm not eating this crap. So I jumped in there when I was 13 and started cooking. Wasn't
That's
the greatest
awesome.
at first, yeah, but I've gotten a lot better.
I'm not much of a cook at all. In fact, I'd go hungry before I cook.
So many people don't know how to cook, and it's just, I mean, when everything falls apart, I mean, I wonder how most people are going to survive themselves without everything being done for them, because that's how this world works. I mean, they make it so easy for you to do stuff with all this technology, but when it's gone, I mean, what are they going to do?
Yeah, no more frozen pizzas, right?
Right.
I love to cook too, Terry. And coming from Canada, we call cookouts barbecues. Barbecuing, we don't call it cookouts, but I'm learning now how to smoke brisket and slow cook certain types of things. I'm learning how to southern cook. Really cool. You learn biscuits and stuff like that. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Granite City, Illinois, but I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota right now.
Zoppy, is that Polish?
That's what I was thinking it is, but there's actually a traveling circus with Zappi for their name, and they're Italian, so I'm not for sure. I was always told
Oh, yeah, it
Polish,
might be
though.
Italian. It might be Italian.
So, as far as anything that Ronnie and I have been saying or teaching on our channels, and you being, you know, a relatively new listener, and you're going through, and like you said, you went back to the beginning and beyond flat Earth, and you're sort of working your way through. Do you have questions? Anything that's jumping out at you that you know, because anybody else that's listening, chances are that they might have the same questions you do, if you have any.
Well, I mean, it might be unbelievable to some, but like I said, from when I talked to you back in, well, I think it was in January or early February, it just seems like I have a very unique grasp to everything, and it comes really easy to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I get stuck on some questions from people at work. You know, they'll try to ask me, like this one kid asked me about the Coriolis effect and how the water always drains one direction on one hemisphere than the other.
What
And
did you tell him?
I just know it's not real, but I mean, well, I've seen videos where they got the same vortexes going on in the same like river or stream, and they're both going opposite directions. But I mean, I know it works in the sky, but I didn't think.
Yeah, that's correct. It doesn't work in the water. We gotta. We'll catch up in a minute. We got a caller, and we're also adding Cameron, but Cameron will be muted for now. Take the call.
Cool.
Okay,
Cameron,
I'll answer this then.
Yeah, we're just on a call, Cameron. Hold up.
Hello, you are live on the Limitless channel.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. There's a little bit of background noise where you're at, though.
Yeah, I'm walking outside. There was background noise. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing? Yeah.
Doing all right. I'm listening to you guys' show. It's pretty good, bro. I like it, especially reading those apocrypha books and stuff like that. Because I was kind of scared to go into them.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the apocryphal books at all?
Yeah, I read the Book of Enoch, and then there was another that had Enoch 1, 2, and 3. And there's like a Hebrew Enoch, and then there's one where it has like a list of a whole bunch of stuff. It had like the Book of the Giants and Enoch 2 in it, and it was like a combined piece along with Enoch 1 done with a little bit of a different translation.
Mm-hmm.
So I read that, and I like that because it showed like the course of the luminaries and the breakdown of the day into 18 periods instead of 24, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like nine day and 9 night periods, or something like that. And I just enjoyed that because it gave a lot of background as far as where they said that basically like evolutionary scientists said like, we were cavemen and stuff like that. But if you read Genesis, they were working metals within like the 3rd or 4th generation and building cities in the 2nd generation at the same time. So,
well, Adam and Eve and them lived in a.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ronnie.
I was just saying, Adam and Eve and the children down through to, I think, Noah, they all lived up on the mountain in a cave, though. There were some.
Right. But Cain and them, got their technology from the fallen angels, Watcher Angels.
Oh yeah.
And that's where the play in the second generation, you know.
Right away. Yep. And
well, I mean,
and surely
think about it. Cain built a city. I mean, right off the bat. Well, I don't know. We don't know exactly how soon, but
soon. And they were having like copious sex, and everyone was having sex with everyone, and there was tons of babies.
Yeah, and the thing is that when you know, the traditional outtake was the sons of God were the children of Seth, and then when you read and you can look at like the translation for the sons of God, which were, you know, I think it was you know, they're actually the fallen angels. But now, when you read the book of Adam and Eve, you can see that actually both happened. Not only did the sons of Seth mingle with the seed of Cain, but around that same time frame is when the Watchers came down and also mingled with Cain. So really, it's not just one or the other. But when y'all read that, it made me realize it was both. And I guess they just took the sons of Seth theology so they can make it more believable instead of the whole, you know, sons of God being the fallen angels who came down and took on mortal bodies.
Yeah, that detail is interesting. I'm glad you caught that.
Yeah, so it's basically like, you know, there's so many divisions in mainstream church. So it's like everybody else, you know, you want to find other people who have knowledge of the Bible and know the scriptures, you know. But whenever you try to deal with, like, say, family members or anything like that, and you try to take them beyond normal scripture, you know, beyond the normal feel good or avoid hell scripture, you know, just for historical analysis, cosmology and stuff like that, just knowing more about what reality is versus what we've been told. And once you get into that, you know, it's hard to find people who read the Bible and study it to that point, to that level. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate the fact that you guys do that, because it's hard to find people who are into it.
Well, I appreciate that you're somebody out there that's interested in it as well. So one needs the other.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I got hit to you guys when you did the jet fuel hoax and then the Chemtrails Are Demonic thing. And I started looking into just what you said, not necessarily researching it myself, because like the way you guys came about it is with so many other things, you can get caught up trying to figure out so much, but there's only so much information given, whether or not they're spraying that stuff or anything like that. It doesn't even matter. It's not really relevant, because what it comes down to is where faith is actually at versus trying to figure out all those specific things. It's almost like a waste of time.
Yeah, it is. You gotta weigh out and determine what the important things are. And some things are important, other things aren't. So, I mean, I like the jet fuel hoax from the standpoint where I was thinking to myself that people would maybe be interested just from a you know, sort of the selfish save money aspect. That would get people's attention, but it's sort of died off now.
It's really choppy, the color.
Yeah, there's a lot of background noise right now.
Love this calling though. That was great. Praise him. Blessings to the Most High.
Then again, Ronnie, you coming through like you're underwater a little bit on my phone for some reason.
Yeah, well, there was a bunch of background noise coming from your side too, but it's better now.
Sorry, the car started. I put my seatbelt on. We were ordering at Waffle House, and I was texting and then called right when we were leaving. But yeah, so the last thing is when you go, like, I was listening to the Truth of Strangers in Fiction, right? And I thought he was hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah.
So what does it sounds like him specifically? Like, I can understand when you're talking about, say, Richie from Boston.
Right.
All he does is basically try to get you worried and concerned about everything, and you almost feel like it's just like trying to scare you after death all the time.
Well, this is a great question. Really great question. I'd like Ronnie to answer it. I'd like to answer it too.
So and just hold the phone down.
Yeah. So maybe I'm gonna. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just go ahead, Ronnie.
So yeah, I've had nothing but, I enjoyed True Will's stuff. I did have a few issues with him when he was promoting the false AE map and model, and I continually tried to explain to him that it was wrong and it didn't work. And it took to the point where I overstepped some of my boundaries. I repented of them. I've since turned back and offered a truce to Will. I believe Will loves the Father and that he's trying to share truth. The issues that I had with him were a little bit of his artwork, and it seemed awfully satanic. But, in the end of the days here, I do believe that Will loves the Father and Yahawashi in his heart. So I'm willing to work with Will. He put out a bunch of hit pieces about, you guys could have the right map, but, you don't have God or whatever. And I just wanted to let him know that we do have God. We love the Father with all our heart, souls, mind, and strength. And, I'd like to work with Will again. Jason, you can fill in your.
Yeah, I mean, I've reached out to him over and over and over. We've had back and back discourse, and I've pointed out the obvious flaws with the AE map and model, and he's just really refused to let it go. He's willing to now say that it's got flaws, but he won't like engage on it and see how obvious the flaws are, and that it's impossible, that it's a Freemason false dichotomy and it doesn't work. So the issue that you run through when you realize the Earth is flat, and then you realize that the circling model doesn't work, is it really takes you to the simulation realization. And there's lots of evidences that contribute to this simulation realization. And we've been trying to present them. We've got the Mandela effect. We've got clouds behind the sun. We've got countless different things that are simulation proofs, but he absolutely rejects and rebukes it and says it's not biblical. So I've just left.
About the first form being coming out of the matrix and all that stuff too, and the word matrix being used, which is also Thomas and all that.
Yeah. So
yeah, I showed that.
I was just saying, I just left it where it is with him and told him, just do your thing. We're going to do ours. We know it's a simulation, and we're not going to back down. We're just going to keep sharing the truth. So that's where it stands.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I just seen him, I've seen his actual work, and I think his work and your guys' work is some of the top. So to see a level of division right there, it sucks, I guess. And being over the fact of what the map is, if you can both agree that it's not a curved sphere, then we have more an agreement than disagreement, I think.
I agree, and I've always welcomed open discourse with him, and it's one of those things where he's not on camera, he doesn't share his identity.
I see. Okay, yeah.
And
all right, I just wondered because between, and then there's like another person. I don't know where he's coming from, but he looks at it like basically he looks at how history was changed, like how history is being changed up from one way or the other to being what we're presented, which was like a false history, and how that plays into, he doesn't add it up to how it plays into the Great Conception, but he reveals it without lining up with the Bible and prophecy and whatnot like that. Even though he still continually points it out, he does not do it as from a Christian viewpoint, basically. See what I'm saying? It's like his name's Subtle Infinity is how he goes by when he does his channel.
Yeah, Subtle Infinity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where he stands on faith-wise, but he does a great job as far as bringing up, you know, how history has been changed and how we're in the situation that we're in now because of changing the history. So if you don't know where you're coming from, you have no idea where you are, you know.
True.
In reality, in history.
True.
Yeah, that's great. I'll check that out. Again, we love this caller. We love you being a part of our team. I don't know if you can hear me, but we should probably get to the couple other guys that we got here.
Yeah, we have two panelists on, so I want to thank you, caller, and please call in again, and we appreciate it.
Oh yeah, thanks. I appreciate the call.
Blessings. Yeah, blessings. Cameron, brother, why don't you unmute and say hi? Tell us how you.
Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly? Yeah.
Sound good.
Well, how's it going, guys? It's been a while, but let's see. I wanted to talk about a verse in the book of Enoch that was kind of really speaking to me when you were talking to the last caller about you know, the simulation theory and all these big signs. I think there's a great sign in chapter 28 of what y'all read tonight. And it's verse 3. It says, "And I said to the sea, behold, I give thee thy eternal limits, and thou shalt not break loose from thy counterparts." I think that in that verse, you know, it talks about how the Lord created the sea and it gives it that eternal limits, you know, which means never ending. And I think that's a good kind of visualization of, if you look at your flat earth map, when you go to the very left or the very right, you know, you end up on the other side. And that's kind of what it says in that verse, how it works. And he clearly says it there.
Amen. Then there's another book of Enoch as well. It speaks of the Lord's limitlessness. And so, you know, for you to hear that and pick that up, man, what a blessing, Cameron.
Well, and the setting of the boundaries. Yeah. So when I read it, I visualized the map and I could sort of see like the water coming up the walls, you know, the depths of the oceans and the way the waves must merge together from side to side, and was trying to visualize it.
Exactly. It's amazing stuff.
So how are you doing, brother? It's nice to hear you again.
I'm doing great. You know, I've just been digging in the Word and really trying to gain the highest spiritual level understanding that I can through the Scriptures to be able to, you know, teach to the best of the truth that I can.
Nice. Did you hear that we're gonna do some trolling soon?
Are you talking about the signs that you made?
Yeah, the flyers and
yes.
Pull those up again. Pull those up.
Yeah, I'm excited. That sounds like a lot of fun. I think that they can bring about some great conversations I can't even imagine.
Yeah, what do you think, Terry?
It'll probably draw out the worst in people, I would imagine.
No, we're going to do it nicely. We're going to do it with the humbleness of our hearts and in love, because that's Enoch says we got to be more loving. So Jason and we got to work on that, right? It says it right there in the book.
You know, I think that's a great test too, really.
Jason was a Jehovah's Witness, so he's ready. And that's where we're starting, right? You know that, Cameron. We're going to Jason's parents.
No, I didn't.
First.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I know. Yeah, going to Austin and
let's hear the pitch again, Jay. Give us the pitch.
Well, I was born and raised Jehovah's Witness, so I know presentation, the presentation style. I know what they face, and so it's a simple introduction. I start with, "Hello, my name's Jason. This is my friend Ronnie, and we're a couple of true Christians here that would like to share a message with you from the Bible." And
we believe
give them
the earth is flat, stationary, and motionless, and we're here to preach the good news that we are going to be raised to the second life, right?
And I know they're Bible believers, so we'll see how they react. I'm trying to find the...
And we're also going to go to, busy highway intersections and the club life, before Friday, Saturdays. We're going to go to the UT games. We're going to go to the F1 track. And we've got a drone. We've got two what you call GoPro heroes. We got a megaphone.
What are you going to do with that drone?
Film.
We probably won't use it in our street activism because it's you got to pay attention to it so much. But if
maybe at the track,
we're going to be doing experiments. We're going to be doing all that kind of stuff with the drone. I can't find where I placed these files.
Ronnie, are you going to be doing some cool sign flipping tricks?
Now Jason's the one who's interested. I could do that too. We're gonna both kind of put.
I understand. It's gonna be fun.
So here's my screen is really unhappy. Open this up. Oh, that's not what I really wanted. All right, so here's
Cameron, you should join us. We could get a banner to fly behind your truck too. And you can film it.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Perfect cameraman. And you have to join us, Cameron. You're gonna have.
Sounds like I'm in.
All right, let me do a screen share here.
And Terry, if you want to drive or fly down, brother, please. We got a room.
Oh, I'd like to sometimes. That's for sure.
Can't wait. Let's say you will. You will not like to. It'll be great. And like Cameron's going to help us too with this activism.
When are you getting those signs in?
I think they said they're going to be delivered the 25th. So we'll have
come down for a weekend, 3 days. We don't have to do anything. Just stand around, right? It'd be cool if we could get something for Cameron's truck too, because we could park that somewhere and like make that our stand around downtown, I think. And I'll go across the street with the megaphone and you can film it all. And I'll film you too. Jason, your screen share's not showing up.
I just have a spinning wheel. I was trying to say it's locked up. No, I can't. It's locked up. I'll probably have to drop out.
What? All right.
I don't even know if I can drop out.
Yeah, just don't end the call. Just say leave. But copy and paste the link. Here, I'll send you the link.
Yeah, I can't even go.
Oh, there you go.
I can't do nothing.
Oh, I can fix this. I got you. What am I waiting for? Bang.
Eject me.
Now No, you're good. You're good. So, Terry, you said you had a couple other questions, or were you just just chatting?
No, I was just chatting. I pretty much whenever I have a question, then the answer always comes to me later. So I mean, before I even get a chance to ask, whether I see it on your show or I watched one of your previous videos. So
Yeah, comment the questions. Make sure. Comment
Huh?
them below. I like when I want to remember something, I'll put a timestamp and I'll put a comment in the video. And that's how I do it.
Everything will be a lot more easier once when I get my own computer. That way I can really start managing my channel a lot better and my information and my research. Doing it on my phone really sucks. Especially the low end phone I have.
But at least you're putting work in, and that's all that matters, right, brother?
Ronnie, can you eject me? I can't get out of the call.
No, it's not working, brother. I tried a bunch of times. It won't kick you out. But yeah, what did you guys want to say a few more things and then we'll wrap it up then if Jason's stuck here?
Yeah.
Technology, right.
I know I wanted to talk about just for a second the community. I wanted to just give a little update. That's to anybody out there still watching, you know, that's still in the works. That's still on its way. So and about the community too, that's in a past video on Awake Souls channel and I think the Limitless channel. Do you remember the title of that video, Ronnie?
The one where you joined us for a live hangout.
Yeah, that one.
It was preparing for community building.
Oh yeah, preparing for community building. So if just a little update on that. Yeah, that's still on its way. So for anybody, just thinking about in your heart, if you feel that it's a calling to you, that you really want to pursue the truth to the fullest and best of your own ability, that it's an opportunity that's in the works. So I think that you should pray on it if you feel that it's something you can be called to live and work in a community of truthers, of ones that truly follow the word.
Yeah, that's great news, brother. I want everybody to do the same thing, to pray and to ask God to lead them in all truth, because that's what I do. I pray every day, hallowed be thy name. Please give me my daily bread, right? That's the word of God is the bread. So the scriptures are the word. And the more I read the scriptures, the closer I feel to God, right? And the Lion of the tribe of Judah, Yahawashi, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's great that, like, what do you think, Terry? How have you been feeling lately? I heard you got a new apartment and work. You're cooking away, and like things are going better for you.
Yeah, they're starting to look up. Like you said, when you manifest good thoughts and good things happen. So that's the way it works in the simulation.
Yeah, it truly does, right? And Cameron, how you been doing?
I've just been digging into all these books, the apocryphal books and the lost books. This past weekend I really dove into the book of Adam and Eve, first and second book, and I wanted to follow up with the book of Enoch just to relate it all together. And I think that those three books are just great to really dive into together. They really shed light on a lot of our beginning.
Yeah, and that's we're totally excited that we got through these books. We can't wait to get to the apocrypha of Yahawashi. So the infancy gospel that isn't in the New Testament. A lot of people say, "Oh, if he's the creator and this and that, where is the other books?" So we've got a great book that we're really looking forward to getting to. I know I have been because it speaks of so many wonders and supernatural things, and that's what the atheists are missing out on. You know, you got people that are addicted to video games and addicted to comic books and going to the movies to watch all this fake stuff, when really you have a supernatural book, the book of life. It's totally supernatural. And yes, we take the scripture, Alex, we take the scriptures very seriously. We've been joined by the co-host with the absolute most awake souls.
That was a big crash.
Yeah, I think they're trolling us tonight. They definitely don't like it when we have others join us. Because that means that we're actually the word spreading. And guys, just so everybody knows that are in the chat and that are here tonight, we're a very small select few, and we just read in the other scriptures that the reason that it's a small group is because it makes it so precious. So no matter what trouble you're going through right now, I just want you to know that God is reaching out to your heart right now. By you being here with us, you are a special group of people, each and every one of you.
Well, anybody that knows Earth is flat and is a Christian is a special breed of people. So what did I miss, guys?
You know, we just talked a little bit on the community. I just updated everybody saying that that's on its way still. Terry talked a little bit about his life, and that's about it.
Cool. You know, chances are a lot of the people that are going to hear this now may have not have heard your guys' stories yet. Would both of you guys mind just sharing a little bit of your story with us to just get people familiar with you again?
You first, Cameron.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up as a Christian. I've been in Texas the whole time. This short version that I can do my best to give a summary for y'all. I grew up, went to a private Christian high school, followed the Lord, and you know, went to college, Baylor University, for 3 years, and had lots of trials. I accepted the Lord in my heart when I was in high school, and I strayed away in college just from all the deception and all this deception from technology, especially. You know, it just really strayed me away. And then I began really diving into trying to figure out the truth. And I started by kind of digging into New Age stuff. And I was really all about love and peace and always wanting to find a truth in those things because that's what Jesus preached. I was always a believer of Jesus. And as you know, aliens and things kind of came about, I started researching into those things. Believed in, I guess you could say, aliens for a while, but I never strayed away from Jesus. I always thought Jesus was number one above all. I was still, you know, trying to figure out what was real, what was not, and you know, diving farther into this truth and finding the book of Enoch and you know, the lost books. That's kind of really what set me apart from going down a New Age path and on the path to the real truth. And so that's really a short summary of kind of where I'm at right now. And I hope that I can do my best to keep following this path of truth.
Nice.
Terry?
Well, my dad was religious, so we were Jehovah's Witnesses up until I was almost 14. Both my parents got kicked out for smoking cigarettes, but I didn't have a really good understanding of it all to begin with, and then I got into a lot of trouble, got all the wrong friends, and I ended up almost going to the prison for boys, you know, but I instead got put in this Baptist youth home, and that's when I got baptized, and I came back to the Lord for a while, but then eventually I fell back out, and you know, well, the whole church experiences weren't all that great. I mean, the messages they were sending, it was all mixed. And then I got really into outer space, and I even attended college for a little while for physics and math as my physics as my major and math as my minor. But whenever I got into it, the math, the higher level math, wasn't making any sense to me, and I couldn't get anybody to explain to me how I could get the answer to some of these math problems. Not the teacher, not anybody could give me the answer. So I mean, and that was really important. If you're going to go for physics, you need to know the math and know the answer, how to get the answer from the problem. So, but I got stuck with a family tragedy. I had twin boys and lost one, and pretty much fell out completely and in life until like the beginning of this year. And that's where my story started.
Man, blessings, brother, because you're doing such a great job. You seek the truth so much, and I try to be a part of your channel and to give you praise, because glory to the Most High. He takes the weakest of us, right? He maketh us confound the brilliance. You know, me and you are just regular guys, and I'm thankful to know you, Terry.
I'm thankful to know you guys too. And if any of my coworkers would ever get on this channel or leave get into my chat, only like one has, you would know the difference between what I was like before January of this year to right at the beginning after I came to Flat Earth and came to give my life back to Yahweh, and how he reached into me and he just took out everything bad out of me. I mean, and I really actually died on that day, and I became a totally new person that everybody, everybody at work is just waiting for me to revert back to the way I was. And I can't do that, you know, and I don't want to.
You were baptized with the Spirit, weren't you?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a great feeling. Makes me emotional and want to fight for the truth in all senses.
Exactly.
Yeah, it brings tears to the eyes to think about how each one of us, I know I have lived my sinful life, and the mistakes that I've made, and the things I've had to pay for unjustly. And it's the love of the truth. It's accepting Yahawashi as our Savior. It makes all that stuff just not matter anymore, because all my confidence is in Him, and in the Word, in the Scriptures, and we see the way that they're being fulfilled right now. And I have just nothing but confidence and joy in me now. So I can't imagine straying from this path, because I know where the broad and spacious road leads in this world. It leads to destruction, and it's painful. Like, these aren't good friends. These aren't the people that I want to hang around with. They don't care about truth.
Amen to that.
Well, it's not going to stop me from working on all these people still. I do it every day. I'm all about friendship, and I do my Care Bear stare. That's what I've been doing lately. I'm a friendship bear. So they laugh at me too. But I try to promote good atmosphere.
Care Bear countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stare. I know the Care Bear thing, man.
Yeah, not too many people know the Care Bears for all the young generation.
You lost me.
See?
Yeah,
I know who they are. I just don't know the Care Bear stare.
But yeah, they send out their little emblem, and I don't know if I think there was Friendship Bear. I'll have to do a little research on that.
Well, what you bring up made me think of a strategy that I learned just in my like self-help agnostic days, and that is to just present a smile to people, and just see the reaction that you get. So just out of nowhere, just smile at them, big toothy smile, and see what you get as a reaction from it. A lot of people are shocked by it, and you'll get sort of wacky reactions.
Yeah.
It's all in
Well,
the
I used to do
eyes.
that stuff before, before all this. I mean, I'd have like when I lived in Arizona, I had somebody drive by, and the girl there leaned down and said, "My boyfriend thinks your hat looks stupid," and I was just like, "Thanks," and they just looked at me like, they didn't get the reaction they wanted, and they just didn't know what to do.
Confounded. They were confounded.
Well, I've been thankful that you've been, working hard and sharing the scriptures and doing everything that a Team Yahawashi member should do. And we've been so thankful that you've been out there, Terry. And the people have commented that they've been hearing you. So you're doing a great job, brother.
Well, it's nice to know that there are a few people. But, I attest to the whole thing with you guys, how you lost a lot of friendships in your quest with the whole 80-mile map not being right and the simulation, because my likes versus dislikes, since I've declared my true colors to everybody, even though, I mean, they already knew from my details that you guys were the ones I supported.
Yeah.
My likes to dislikes went from 50% to 20 like and 80% dislike. So they find out really who has been listening to you the whole time.
Yeah, it's not a popular message. It's not. I don't know why. Because I find the understanding that we're in a simulation super encouraging, because we've been told by the scriptures that this is our world. This is the Christians' world. This is the truthers' world to inherit. Now, we know that Satan's run this world into the ground. We as truthers hate the way, things are run here. We know that Yahweh's going to come back, destroy it, burn it. He's going to put us in a new world, a fresh start, and give us all these bountiful blessings. So we're going to have like at least what we have right now, except better, where we're not going to have any more pain or suffering. We're told in the scriptures that it's always going to be daytime as well. That it's just going to be joy, peace, happiness, friendship, all these things, praising Yahweh. And he's going to be here. He's going to come and he's going to join us, and we're going to live here and have some fun.
Yeah. I guess we'll do last calls, and I'm going to say a prayer this week. And, the way you just ended that is going to be a part of the prayer. Do you have any final words, Cameron and Terry, and the host with the most?
I want to say to Terry, first time I've gotten to talk to you, I just want to thank you for, your presence and be able to hear a little bit about you. It's been great. So I thank you for that. And thank you for Ronnie and Jason for just both y'all for tonight and inviting me in just to talk a little bit. So thank you guys.
Thank you for being here.
We love you, brother. We love you both, brothers.
It was great getting to see Cameron and talk to him again. But
and
finish out.
Yeah, so everyone make sure you pick up, subscribe to Cameron Cornett and to Terry Zoppi, the Final Countdown channel. Jason?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. The thing that makes me happiest is knowing that there's other people out there that are interested in the truth. So just love hearing from you, and thank you so much.
Okay, and I'll say this prayer, and then we'll end it here. Oh, dear Heavenly Father, Yahweh, we know that everyone is going through such hard tribulation and hard times, and our families are being divided, and your truth is being put out there, and people are rejecting you, and they're rejecting your children. And Father, we know that you sent yourself through your son Yahawashi, and you told us that they would hate us the same. So we know exactly what is ahead. And we ask that you guide us through all of our tests and truly, truly, truly open our hearts and help us strive through these tests with the least amount of pain as possible. Because, Father, we wish that you come. We wish that your will be done. And we're tired of this earthly pain place. We don't want to live under Satan's rules and laws. We want to live with you. And we await your coming, Father. And we just love and thank and praise your holy high name all of the days of our lives. Thank you to everyone on the other side of the screen. Praise the Most High.